Aloha mai, and welcome to Hawaiian Studies 107, mini lecture on the Ahupua'a system. So all of you should have out the printed lecture notes to follow along because there are some terms that are will be shown on the screen, but you can follow along with to help you guide you through some of the terms. So we're going to introduce you to the Ahupua'a system, which is our system of land divisions here in Hawaii from ancient times and still used in modern times. Okay, and as we're going to see, if you look there on some of the place names and divisions that you see on this side of Oahu, they're still the same divisions that were carried over from ancient times. So our Ahupua'a system is our system of land management and resource management. Okay, so what you're basically looking at in the beginning of your lecture notes are these 10 items. Okay, so you guys are going to need to know these items for your midterm, and we're going to go over each one and as far as they are related to each other in groups. So from Pai'aina, Mokupuni, Okana, Kalana, Ahupua'a, and you see that's all caps, and we're going to tell you why in a bit. Ili'aina, Mo'o'aina, Pauku'aina, Kihapai, Ko'ele, Hakuone, Kuakua, Kuauna. The ones with commas are just variations, okay? So they're other names for the same thing. So basically, this system, Ahupua'a, is, if you notice here, it goes from large to small. It's kind of like dividing up a pie, okay? So if you think about an island as a pie, right? It has edges, it has borders, and we'll go back to our first slide here. So if you see this portion of Oahu on the bottom here, right, think about this island as a pie, right? And what we're doing is dividing that pie up into sections, okay? And that's why it's a land division system, okay? And when we take you through the terms here, if you notice from 1 to 10, they go from large to small, okay? And this system of Ahupua'a, this very ingenious system, takes you from very large units to very small units, okay? And it's very brilliant in its simplicity, right? So if you notice the first one, Pai'aina or Paimoku, is the whole island chain archipelago, and it ends down on number 10 to a small land division, often the size of a path between two lo'ikalo, or something, just big enough where you would stand. So that's a huge gap, right? And it's all sort of compressed down upon each other. So Ahupua'a system is dividing things up and basically just makes smaller and smaller divisions within divisions until it gets down to very small units. Okay, so there are other names and terms in the Ahupua'a system, but this is an intro class, so I'm just giving you guys the basics. And also, if you notice, it says also Paimoku. Those are just alternate terms. You may see if you're doing some other readings. Okay, so let's start. Ahupua'a system. So number one, Pai'aina, right? Let's see. We should also have some other terms here. Again, island chain, archipelago, Paimoku, where moku equals island, aina means land, so Pai'aina or Paimoku is the whole island chain. Okay, so you see our 8 major islands here in the first picture on the top. And on the bottom, actually, our Pai'aina o Hawaii, our Hawaiian island chain, actually includes all of the northwestern Hawaiian islands in our Kingdom of Hawaii, as well as our modern version of that. But in ancient times, too, settlements were found up in the northwestern islands. So our Pai'aina is actually all of that together. Okay, so moving on is our Mokupuni. Okay, again, Moku is island. And you're going to see this term moku come up more than once, okay? So don't be confused, but the root of the word is island. And when you see this come up a lot, just sort of think about that. So mokupuni, right? Also moku, people just refer to islands as moku, just a shorter version. But if it can help you remember mokupuni, puni is surrounded or a circumference. I think that should be up there. There it is. So something that's cut off or surrounded, a circumference. So Mokupuni, right, is an island, but it's cut off from other parts or other islands. It's an individual. Okay, so Moku of Oahu, as we have here. Okay, and you can see within this island several districts. Okay, so we have island chain, island, island districts, which really brings us to our next um, definition here. Okay, so which is okana or kalana, and this, which kind of confuses people too. This level number 3 is also called moku. Okay, so you'll hear as you see on this the picture here, it's kind of ambiguous, right? Because it says moku of Oahu, and it can mean two different things, right? Moku of Oahu, if you translate that, can mean island of Oahu, but moku of Oahu can also mean the different okana or different moku or different large districts within Oahu. Okay, so I put that up there to sort of show you the difference and have your mind sort of tune into that. Okay, so these moku are the large major districts, and these are very important. Okay, and they played a number of significant roles historically in terms of battles and wars and occupations, and who controls what side of the island and so on and so forth. But all of these terms here for our various divisions should be very familiar to all of us. Okay, because the name of our ancient districts are still the name of our districts till today. Okay, because our occupied state, or the state of Hawaii, whatever you want to call it, why recreate the wheel? This system already existed, so a lot of what you see nowadays in terms of topography in Hawaii is basically a carryover of our ancient system. So Ko'olauloa, Ko'olaupoko, Kona, Ewa, Waianae, Wailua. Okay, and we are now, if you guys haven't guessed, in the Kona district. Okay, so we'll move on to the next layer deep. Okay, which is the Ahupua'a system, or Kana Kalana, sorry, we're still on that one. So this is kind of an overlay, which is pretty neat, of the large moku, or okana, and all the various different colors you see in there, although they're not labeled, are all of the some 86 different Ahupua'a that cover our island of Oahu here. It's kind of a neat picture because it has all the nice colors over there. Okay, so this is the moku of Oahu. Okay, Ahupua'a map. Moku names in orange. Okay, so it's kind of neat too to look and see, like, where you live, or your friends live, or your family might live in any one of these districts over here. Okay, and you guys have a map in your map packet which has all of the names in there. Okay, so let's move on. Ahupua'a system, and so just this slide is kind of meant to highlight our moku, right? Our kalana, which is Kona. Okay, so on the bottom one, moku of Kona, which I say we are in because that's where KCC is in, right? If you see Diamond Head on the bottom, sort of middle there, this is our Kona district. Okay, this is our district, and since we go to school here at KCC, we should sort of take pride in that. This is our moku. This is our area. Okay, and our Ahupua'a is within this moku area. Okay, and so if you look in here, it's kind of neat because you can see all the names of the valleys: Palolo, Manoa, right? Wailupe, Niu, Maunalua, Moanalua. So the boundary starts at Moanalua and ends at Maunalua out here. Okay. So again, this is actually this is going to be your map quiz right here. So get to know these names. Okay, moving on. And here you can see it blown up, in case you couldn't see it before. Okay, you can look at all of the different little ahupua'a there. Okay. And another view of our island. It's just kind of neat. If you go onto Google, somebody's put these maps together, which kind of is a nice, interesting view of the island instead of looking at it straight down, where you can see all of the different districts. Okay, not all of them are labeled, but it's interesting. Okay, and now Ahupua'a. Okay, so the reason Ahupua'a is different than every other term there, right? If you notice, it's the same word, right? Ahupua'a is the name of this level of deepness, right, or level of size, but it's also the name of the system. So why is that? Okay, well, for a good reason, because the Ahupua'a was the major land division, And what that means, or how you should interpret that, is that it's kind of like it's not too big and it's not too small. It's just right. Okay, because moku are big, and when we get to divisions in between the ahupua'a or within the ahupua'a, they get small. So what we're talking about is community. What we're talking about is the concept of the system. Okay, I said it's resource management, it's land division. Okay, but it's more than simply drawing lines on a map and saying this valley is your valley, that valley is my valley, and I live over here, right? What it's saying is that the ahupua'a system is actually a system of resource management. Okay, it's a system of ecology, it's a system of resource management. Okay, so it's really about creating an ecosystem. So within an ahupua'a, if you go back to the maps and look at the size of the ahupua'a, you'll understand that each ahupua'a was sort of created so that people could live within that ahupua'a. And theoretically, it was an ecosystem because people could live, be born, and die within that system, and never have to want for any resources. Okay, and that's kind of a key essential. Let's see. Let's go back here to this, right? So if we look at these different ahupua'a where they are, right, people should be able to be born on those ahupua'a, live and never want for resources, pick all the food they want, go out to the ocean and catch whatever they want, and always have resources. So they were all carved out so that people would always have enough resources. Okay, so again, let's go back here and pull all of these up. Okay, so land management, resource management, and when we're looking at our ali'i and the relationship between our commoners and ali'i and the social structure of pre-contact Hawaii, it was the basic level of rulership for an ali'i. It was common when ali'i were given gifts or given titles or conquered, it was at the level of the ahupua'a. Others conquered at larger levels like Kona, or as we see Kamehameha, all of the island chain. But the basic level of rulership was at the ahupua'a. When new rulers took over or became the ali'i, then they would oftentimes give out to their constituents, their family and whatever not, ahupua'a to rule over. Okay, so it's where people lived, right? It's the basic area where people live, where families were from. Okay, and if you notice in the picture there, right, you have the mountain and the ocean, right? You have these lo'i up here, you have the water, and you have all these plants and this kanu halau and this va'a out here. So the ahupua'a went from mountain to ocean and even further than that. Okay, so if we look at some of these concepts, from mountain to ocean, right? It went from uplands all the way out. So the ahupua'a included the ocean area too, right? All of this blue out here on the bottom, right? It didn't just stop at the land, but went out into the ocean. Mauka makai, right? It was all of those both together because really in Hawaiian thinking, you didn't separate those things out. And today we don't separate those things out. It's mauka makai, it's all together. And the resources that go out into the ocean belong to that portion of land that it's attached to. So it's part of where you get your food and where you live, where you play, where you surf. Okay, divisions within ahupua'a going horizontal and vertical. Okay, so you have cross cuts as well as cuts going around. We're not going to get into all the terms because there's way too many terms for that. But if you guys want to ask questions on the forum or whatever, we can do that. So the question is, what connects all of these divisions? Okay, what connects this ahupua'a together? Okay, you look at all the plants and everything connecting